We got a lot of people that don't really seem to have the right focus or the right center, and they have a bad case, a TDS. I mean, you're seeing it going on over at The View, are you not? I mean, The Viewer, by the way, they've had to fire some people. Yeah, they've had to fire some people because, well, I don't know, maybe all that CIA money was drying up. I'm kidding, of course. We don't know that for sure, but it's rather amazing how many media organizations were getting all kinds of funding from USAID. I mean, that was amazing to me. Reuters and AP and, you name it, Politico. So I guess they had some incentive to report things a certain way. And if you wonder why, like, it got ratcheted up most recently, well, the money started getting bigger and bigger most recently. Here's Joy Behar today trying to say that Elon Musk is the traitor. He's the problem, not the CIA agents that are willing to go work for China or Iran because they don't like Trump. No, it's Elon.
And Elon Musk kisses his butt and strokes his tiny ego or big ego, whatever it is. And he doesn't get to he can take a nap while the guy was not born in this country, who was born under apartheid in South Africa, so has that mentality going on. He was pro-apartheid, as I understand it.
He's a naturalized citizen.
Right?
Now.
He's a naturalized citizen.
Now he's a naturalized citizen.
Oh, really? How did he do that? Did he come over the border legally?
He had an H-1B visa, I believe.
He flew in.
Yeah, he allegedly overstayed that visa.
Yeah, but I think this is just perfectly wonderful for Trump. He can take a nap and let this foreign agent, an enemy of the United States, do his job.
Anybody else?
I don't like Elon. I wouldn't go as far as to necessarily call him an enemy of the United States yet. Let's give him a little bit of time.
Did you hear the applause? You heard the boo, 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 boo. You have to applaud. I mean, that's actually all scripted, you see. They really ought to just have a track. You just play a computer button, but they still have the live studio audience. I don't know for how much longer, because that show is on its last legs. That show is probably one of the worst shows on television, period. They know it. I think that the talent there, they're so intimidated by this new media. Like, all of us over here that are streaming, they don't understand what it is. They resent it, and they feel like we have sort of helped Trump along, I don't know, by maybe getting out the truth. Do you remember when Joy Behar just went crazy about one Joe Rogan? This may have been right after Trump went on and did 3 hours with Joe Rogan. Anyway, she's going crazy. I don't understand all these people, and, they've got these podcasts, and what do they matter?
That's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
we're checked by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
The human legal note?
But we went from Walter Cronkite, basically, to this guy, Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons? He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like dinosaur-y type of animals, roamed the earth when people did. So this is the type of really, really bad information that's going out there.
Well, in defense, there are some really good news.
It's possible that Donald Trump did roam the earth when dinosaurs were here.
There are.
Yeah. Okay, so, she's going after Rogan, and it's completely out of context because he was having a conversation about just how amazing it is that, you see these mythical creatures throughout history and art, etc. But she doesn't even know who he is, and then says, like, how can this guy have any presence? We're ABC News after all, right? We're ABC News, and we get the legal note. Well, apparently their lawyer, that one Sunny Houston, kept saying things that were legally not correct, that they had to keep having her correct herself live on the air. Here's Joy again trying to come up with some really bizarre excuse about, you guessed it, Russia.
To your point, Sarah, I think most presidents don't sit in a room with the leader of an ally without an interpreter, especially if they don't understand the language. I think this president, unfortunately, perhaps either doesn't understand geopolitics and doesn't understand the importance of having allies and the importance of our allyship, Or perhaps there is a reason why, to your point, Joy, that he is so enthralled with Russia. I don't know if it's because he thinks by getting Russia closer to the United States that perhaps they'll ice out China. I think that is a ridiculous reading of the political landscape.
He can't figure that out.
Or exactly. Or again,
Yeah.
he just doesn't understand geopolitics in the way that a president should. But we kind of knew that before,
What does he owe Putin? Maybe he owes something to Putin.
You see? They're just never gonna, they can't give up the Russia thing. And especially now because it's being brought back and we're shining the light on it and it's all coming out and they can't let it go. They really can't. I mean, you combine that with, some of their commentary. We just heard them going off on RFK. I mean, I don't mean to torture you with these people, but I honestly think that there is something quite special about this show. I mean, I don't know what I would do, right? If it went off the air, we wouldn't be able to point out all the craziness that happens. But there was this one moment just recently when they were going on and on and on about RFK Jr., and they couldn't believe that he was going to be head of HHS, and that was just so terrible and so bad. Let me see if I have this one for you because I think this is kind of an important thing to see. Do we have it?
And Elon Musk kisses his butt and strokes his tiny ego or big ego, whatever it is. And he doesn't get to he can take a nap while the guy was not born in this country, who was born under apartheid.
No, that wasn't it. Anyway, she was recently going on also about RFK, and I just thought that was rather unbelievable. And I thought I would give a shout out to a cause that I care about, which obviously is lowering drug costs. And I know this kind of seems like a non sequitur on a day like today, and we're going to get back to some of the other important stuff regarding this Epstein file that wasn't. But do keep in mind, guys, that, the president is trying to deliver on everything. So whether it's making sure that we get all the information vis-a-vis whatever went down with Epstein, whatever went down with Russia, whatever went down with James Comey and his honeypot operation, all of that information needs to come out. The assassinations of JFK, that needs to come out. RFK, it needs to come out about MLK. And, it's hard when you have a system that's sort of stacked against you, whether it's the intel operations, right, that are so stacked against you, or whether, you have a Congress that, for whatever reason, is embedded with certain lobbyists and certain organizations that are bankrolling them, and then you're working against that. We were just talking the other day about whether or not we're going to get an extension of the tax cut. Are we? I mean, that's all up in the air because you get some rhinos that are willing to take the money, and that would be actually pretty disastrous if we didn't get an extension of the tax cut. But the other thing that would be pretty darn disastrous, let me just say, is if we see all these prices on drugs going up. 575 brand name drugs in January alone. They raised prices on, they blocked competitions on, they want Americans spending more money on all of these medications, hardworking Americans that don't have the money to begin with. I mean, you're paying taxes and it's going for transgender operations in Guatemala. It ought to be going to help lower your drug costs, honestly. Anyway, they're pressuring Congress right now to implement mandates that will undermine the one real check against drug companies and ban the very market-based incentives that really are out there to help employers and to help families save on prescriptions and healthcare. And even worse, you get Big Pharma wanting to strip American employers of the freedom of choice to actually choose who they want to be providing the health benefits. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's like they want to put us in some kind of fascist regime. These proposals would actually hand Big Pharma. Guess what? It's all about money. Didn't I tell you? It's always about money. $32 billion is a big money grab, and it will come at the expense of American employers and American families. So, Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs is on this. They're all over it. They don't want Big Pharma taking over. We got RFK Jr., okay? Let me tell you, he doesn't want Big Pharma taking over either. So that's a good thing. But you get the rest of Congress. It's just like we were talking about the taxes the other day, right? You know, we got Trump, and he's all about lower taxes. But if we don't get an extension of the tax cut because you get too many rhinos in the way, then you got problems. Well, it's the same thing here with lowering drug costs. You got to actually have everybody doing the right thing. And so Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs is out there trying to, riz up all the Congress people around the country and say, hey, do the right thing. You can be part of this. You can help join this effort. You can help tell your congressperson, hey, I don't want my drug costs going up. And so there's a website I want to give you. It is Pharma Windfall. PharmaWindfall.com. It's important. You should go over there and check that out because Pharma Windfall, let me see if I can put this up on the screen for you guys. All right, let's do that just so you have it. Pharma Windfall. Can I type and spell at the same time? That's how you know the show's live. There you go. Voila, PharmaWindfall.com. But they're doing really good things because you know what? They don't want Big Pharma costing you more and more and more money. We don't need that, right? And I say this as a capitalist, you understand, right? At some point, when companies get too big, they become like monopolies. They have way too much say and way too much power, and we can't allow that. Just like we can't allow the FBI not to turn over the darn Epstein documents, for goodness sakes. This is truly one of the worst insults I think we've ever had to deal with most recently. I mean, here we are, we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And Pam Bondi said, yeah, I have the files, they're on my desk. She was asked the other day, did you see anything interesting? She's like, no, not really. And I thought, well, maybe she just hasn't gone through them all. There were only 200 pages, and it's basically stuff that we know already. So what are they doing? Why aren't they giving her the real stuff? Because maybe the CIA is implicated in this? Of course, I kind of wonder if they might have already gotten rid of all those documents. Apparently, they can do all kinds of things. Just ask Chuck Schumer.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them. And we need the intelligence community. We don't know what's going on. Look at the Russian hacking. Without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have discovered it.
Do you think he has an agenda to try to dismantle parts of the intelligence community? I mean, this form of taunting hostility.
Whether you're a super liberal Democrat or a very conservative Republican, you should be against dismantling the intelligence community.
I have a question. When he says that we would know about the Russia hacking, what's that one? Is that the Russia thing all over? Because, if you listened closely enough to the likes of Hillary Clinton and company, at some point you started to think, wait a second, in 2016, did the Russians break into the Diebold voting machines? Yeah, I think what he's referring to is not actually hacking, but all the social media accounts, right? Like the bots that were put out there to spread information. And I think the Russians actually did it both ways because they just wanted to kind of mess with us. And this is, classic campaigns that, by the way, we ought to be doing everywhere around the world too. I'll do that before I don't even go there, right? With the Epstein stuff, I can't even talk about that. I mean, it's just, if that turns out to have been somehow in any way sanctioned by us, I think a lot of people need to go to jail, all right? A lot of people. And I want Pam to really dig in. And I know Dan will. He's been a friend for a long time. He's joining the FBI, of course, you know that. And I know he will. But we've got a lot of ground to cover. We really do, guys. Again, I'll just remind you, 76research.com, because that's the good thing in the world. Let's try and make some money while this is all going down. Do go over to 76 Research and check that out for me. We have a very big week ahead. Again, do not forget Pam Bondi saying that she is demanding that those files be on her desk, okay? Let's see, I have the letter right here. What time did she say? Was she going to give him to 8:30 or did she want 8 o'clock? 8 a.m. February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. We need that. We want that. We're demanding it. Pam's not giving up. She's relentless. They have met their match, okay? They've met their match. And that's why you get Cash. And that's why you get Dan in there. And that's why you got people like me right here every single day with you. I will not stop either. Because I don't want to be true what I worry might actually be true, okay? My biggest worry is what the federal judge down in Florida said. Why did he go easy on him? Because he was, quote, told to lay off because he belonged to intelligence. If he belonged to intelligence and we allowed what happened to have happened, then we are responsible. Our FBI, our CIA, whoever you want to blame, they are the ones responsible and should be held responsible. Pam says if it's not on her desk by tomorrow, then she expects the FBI will make sure that they make the proposed personnel actions within 14 days. In other words, they're getting fired, all of them. We're going to clean house. We're going to start over with people who have some ethical backbone. I hope that didn't happen, let me just tell you. I really do. But I have a feeling there's a lot more there. We have lots of questions, don't we? I'm not giving up. I know you guys aren't giving up. And this is a mission that we are on together, here, every day.